some different things. Hello, welcome everybody. This is Business Development with Cameron Toth, or if you want to shorten it, we can call it Biz D with C. I am very excited to bring to you the lovely, the amazing, the master networker, the connector, the matchmaker, and the person that will help you thrive and is going to talk to you about thriving today. We're going to get into it with Miss Tina Campbell. Thank you so much, Tina, for being here.
I'm so happy. Thank you, Cameron. I'm so excited about what you've been doing to help other entrepreneurs. And I'm just amazing. I'm really amazed at how you've pivoted, and I'm so proud of you.
I'm still working on it, as I'm sure a lot of people are. One of the things that I've been getting out of this, I mean, being a part of Master Network. So you are the regional director for New York. Is that right? Did I get that correct?
Yep. Regional partner.
Regional partner.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So in that role, I've just in my short time, I've been a part of Master Network since December. And for those that don't know what Master Networks is, I'm going to let you explain because I'm sure you can do a much better job than I can.
Well, Master Networks is a national organization. I think that's really important to understand because we have, we're a family, and more than anything, we're a big family of entrepreneurs, business leaders. We get together on weekly chapter meetings, but we are learning based and community minded, and that's like my whole focus right now is to create this community. And certainly now it's on Zoom or it's on virtual, and it's people are just coming together, they're helping each other, they're supporting. We just really, by being learning based, we get to the crux of the matter and we help people. And it's done, I think Zoom's even brought us together.
I definitely appreciate Zoom. I think, the live meetings were great. And so a mixture of, having to change things and the Zoom meetings has really created just a moment for me personally. I know not everybody's comfortable with it, but I think it's one of those things where if you weren't comfortable with it before, you need to get comfortable with it now. Things are changing. And I'm not saying, we're not going to go back to our live chapter meetings. I think we absolutely are. But I think the ability to do these kind of meetings and market yourself across the country, the folks that know how to do that, the folks that are face-to-facing and building their businesses and networking and learning and taking advantage of the online opportunities to learn, especially the participatory experiences like these face-to-face bonding sessions. They're going to be a lot, much further ahead of the game than somebody that hasn't taken advantage of it.
Right. And if they don't feel comfortable and they're just seeing this on their phone, they can do it from their phone. It's really, the technology was there. It was funny because I was doing virtual chapter meetings once a month for the last year, but nobody was coming. And it was like maybe the same 10, 15, maybe 20 people were coming on a month. And so I felt like I was practicing for this role that we had to quickly, pivot. Right. And that's kind of the word of the couple months. Right. But more importantly, I love the fact that it's the cohesiveness of it. It's like a magnet, and we're coming together and, okay, what do you need? What do you need? How do I support you? Some people just saying, hey, I'm having a bad day, but let's be positive, and getting them into a business, a mindset for the day. And, we have them in the morning, we have them in the afternoon, we have them in the evening. So it's totally up to whenever, people are available.
No, I love the opportunity for people to connect, the opportunity there. One of the things that's really cool about Master Networks, and I was just talking with Elizabeth Carnegie, who works for the Master Networks organization. I had a face-to-face with her earlier, and just the, ability to bring people together, but the idea of working on your own business. So I'm a member of many associations, MPI, Meeting Professionals International, Westfield chapter. Right after I get off with you, I'm going to go help out my chapter. And actually, I brought the Zoom meeting model to my chapter. And I feel like, when you say you're struggling with you were struggling before with the Zoom meetings, and now obviously we're all on Zoom, but I am working on exactly that issue because we're trying to make meetings that typically, we're in the meeting industry and we come together, but like webinars and Zoom meetings aren't that interesting. We're doing a lot of things to make them interesting. So today we have somebody doing a 5-minute learning tidbit on pina colada, and it's somebody that folks know, that they're interested in. Next week we're having a thing with yoga, so we're changing it up every week. But the model is that 5-minute learning tidbit, so we're not sitting there listening to a webinar kind of format and you're bored to death. And then the other piece to it is that we're doing a lot of the breakout sessions. So today, instead of like the one breakout session, we're going to have 2 breakout sessions where people are going to get to do this round robin in very small groups, which everybody loves with these online meetings. So if your company has been participating in Zooms and it's like 30 faces for an hour or more, listen, I feel for you. They're missing out on the opportunity, because breakout rooms is one of the top or best features or best practice kind of uses of Zoom, the ability to break out into small groups and really have those really powerful, impactful conversations. You can plan it out so you can have people for sure that haven't, that need to meet, or you could just do it randomly and Zoom takes care of the rest. I have, since we started going to the Zoom model, I have brought it to MPI, I have brought it to Boy Scouts, and I have brought it to my Toth event staffing in order to bring my community together with varying degrees of success, with the least amount of success in terms of numbers being with my own company. But it just also talks to me about how much more I need to serve my community. So there's so much to learn.
Well, yes. And, just keep doing it, because like I said, I was doing it for a year and suddenly it became, the rage and then just keep saying to people.
And you were prepared.
I was totally prepared. I mean, I was, had a few days where I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then I just went, oh, okay. And initially what we did was we just brought everybody together under like anybody just come at these different times. And then we started to really break out into our individual chapters. Some smaller chapters went with larger, and they've been really enjoying that. But we had kind of a method to our madness, which was to get back to some sense of normalcy, but first just bring everyone together. So what you're doing, I think, is the best thing, is bring everyone together. Then you can play around with the technology and breaking people out as people get more used to it. We've actually had some of my leadership in the region. We have wonderful area directors, and they've been like, okay, you know what, Tina, you do those, I'll do these. And we've been able to split them out more, where people are starting to, we're not having these giant groups where we're having more intimate, but we're growing these chapters. And it's like, I have to say, everybody taking a lead. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind. Yes, I really am so, interested in the leadership, what's happening with the leaders during this time. I'm finding people that I just never, maybe I didn't give them enough, thought that they would be leaders, but these people are stepping up. Some people I thought who were leaders maybe were more of control freaks. And now that they can't control anything, they're freaking. Right. So they tend to be going kind of into themselves, and come back out. If you were a leader before, be a leader now. But I love the fact that these other people that you just were like, not expecting are coming up and rising to the occasion. And I love that, because that's what you want to do. I tell everybody at our meetings, I'm like, be the leader, be a leader in your community, be a leader in your industry, go out there and make sure you're calling people. And I think that's really the key right now. It's about what you could do. And I think that's somehow to take a little piece of the control back.
All right. Let me say that I think people who know you and love you really want to know how you manage your schedule, how you stay, on top of inspiring people, how you stay positive, dealing with so much. So talk to us a little bit about that, and maybe even before you jump into that, talk to us about the Thrivers Tactics for Entrepreneurs, the new service that you're offering. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then talk to us about some of the skills that you use every day, because I think, me included, how do you manage your calendar? How do you schedule so much in? You're doing lunch and learns. You're on every meeting almost that I jump on, you're there. And I'm not, I'm trying to jump on stuff, but I'm also trying to stay away because I'm trying to actually get stuff in my day done. So I'm just amazed at the amount you're able to produce. All of these lunch and learns. I thought I was aggressive with my live broadcast and everything, but if you go to the New York Master Network chapter, and I'll try to get it up here so that people can see it. There's a ton of lunch and learn content. One of the best, and you can see it in use today, is and I'd spoken to you and I'd spoken to Rob, but the lunch and learn thing is such a great format. Rob talked about the Canva. So the graphics that you see on the StreamYard platform today with the YouTube Live, the Facebook Live, featuring Tina Campbell, that whole logo up there in the corner, I designed all of that myself using a combination of Canva and Keynote, which is on Mac, but you could use PowerPoint, just creating slides and then screenshotting them and throwing them into the backgrounds here. So it's incredibly useful. I've taken so much from that. So I'm going to shut up here and let you talk, but really impressed with all of you're doing. It's providing an extreme amount of value. And I just want you to talk about, how you're churning all this out and what you have to offer for folks.
Well, wow, that's a lot.
Yes, I'm gonna give you the
No pressure, no pressure. So first of all, I usually have a background. This is my office, but I usually have a background. But with StreamYard, it's more difficult to add that. So I do use the Rob Genovese's idea, which is brand yourself.
Let me interrupt you 1 second. I'm gonna totally help you. We're gonna get you up with a green screen just to give people that help right now. You can buy a green screen off of Amazon fairly cheaply, put it behind you, and then it'll work with all these other streaming services. And the reason we're using StreamYard today is because you can put the branding all over the place,
which is awesome.
And then I can throw up websites and all that, which we'll do in a little bit, so we can talk to people and send them to some places. But let you.
Well, no, Cameron, because I want to say one thing about green screen. So I bought a green screen off of Amazon, put it behind me. It made my hair look, because I have blonde hair, made my hair look green.
So there are little tips to it. So there's different ways you can do it. So really the big thing is lighting. So you have to light yourself up in a way, and then you'll see even with StreamYard, I haven't seen it with Zoom, but you can actually see there's a way to adjust it. So right now, I see. There's levels of it. So you can get it to that perfect place where it'll make you look.
Oh, that's cool.
I really enjoyed the Zoom feature on Zoom where it put that virtual background for a little while because my hair was getting out of control. I hadn't cut my hair yet. So all my pointy stuff had disappeared because it just took it away because it couldn't see it.
I know. It's almost like your hair is blowing in the wind. It's so strange. But anyway, so going back to managing my time, now that I'm not in my car all the time, I spent hours going up and down the county of not just Westchester. I was in Jersey, up to all the way to Dutchess County. And now we're even going over to New Rochelle. Well, down in New Rochelle, but over to New Paltz. So we really cover a very large swath of New York, and I actually have the entire New York region except New York City to build. So that's a lot. So I'm not in my car. So that's number one. That's very interesting to me. So I can just do back to back. I can time block for these back to back meetings. I can time block for projects. I time block for learning. It's really amazing. I have to say that I'm trying to get the most out of this time where I'm not in my car. I'll have to figure out something with my car when I get back to that, and where I do love listening to Audible and things like that, but still, this is such a better use of my time. So that's number one. And I just time block like crazy. I mean, it's right. I have it on my phone. I have it, it's attached to my Google Calendar, but I also, just in case, I have a printout of my day that I print out the night before next to me. So if I don't, if you and I are talking and I'm thinking to myself, oh, what's next? And I don't want to be obvious that I'm, going on to my next meeting. I'm kind of looking down next to me here. I have it always printed out. So that's been very, very helpful. As far as, going and doing all these extra things. What I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to come up with value for my members. It's very important to me. So these lunch and learns really just came out of let them have a voice. It's not about me. So what I'm telling everybody, teach me something for 20 minutes, whatever that is. So tell me the topic. They'll give me the topic. Um, as long as it's appropriate, I'm like, so teach me for 20 minutes. And we laugh, and it's pretty funny sometimes. Rob is such an entertaining and interesting fellow. So he's actually, I want to give him kudos, because you are the first ones to see my new company or my new business project name, which is Thrivers. And that's Tactics for Entrepreneurs. This just happened yesterday with Rob. So Rob and I'm working with Rob to brand my new, what I'm doing project. I'd like to say that.
What are your company colors?
Oh, so, Rob wants me to use green. He wants me to use green, and I may even steal his orange.
So all the colors you see today, the black, the gray, the pink, which I went with pink because I was wearing, like, even a purple shirt looks blue on the screen.
Yeah.
And purple just looks too dark. So Pincus is in that same field. But all of this is driven by his brand reveal and what he taught me.
It was amazing, right? So we did that, and so I'm working on. He's helping me work on now the logo. But one of the things with Thrivers, what I realized, what I was doing, trying to give value to my members, and I want to do this to as many people as I can outside of my membership, and that is to find out what people are passionate about. And I think somehow I have this ability, and I think it comes from years of, I was corporate HR, so I've been talking to people, and I've been finding out what they want to do and what they're passionate about. And that's what I find that I'm good at, as far as getting to the crux of what is your business? Are you passionate about it? And then, okay, what's the next steps? So I really want to talk to entrepreneurs because I'm so interested in that mindset. I like to find out, where they are in the process of becoming an entrepreneur. Are they there? Are they, what is their service? I think working with people who are service type of businesses is really my sweet spot, and finding out, and working with them to make clarity. So that's really what I'm working on right now. But I find that Master Networks, of course, is something that, is my baby, and I love it. And so I'm never, going to get away from that. I think this is just one of those add-ons that I can bring to my members and beyond, really.
That's great. What do you think somebody can do right now to thrive? What would you suggest is the thing that folks need to be doing to thrive right now, right in this moment? Whether they're a company like mine that's basically, for all intents and purposes, shut down because we don't have a product. I have a staffing company with waiters, bartenders, and chefs, so we can't send those folks out. And I'm not crying. I'm trying to pivot, and yay me. But, for folks that are having a tough time, they have a business that can't really operate. You're running a catering business, and yes, you may be providing meals for first responders, but you're not making the profits that you want to do. What would you say to companies that are in a place where they really don't have something to sell? And what would you say to the companies that do have products to sell? How would you give those different layers of advice?
Well, I think it starts with, everybody's situation right now is different. We're all in it, but it's all different. Like Cameron, you have children at home, so it's so I can't speak to that. I'm an empty nester, although my daughter's coming home from college next week. So that's going to change the dynamic in a good way.
Well, listen, if anybody wants to know a little bit, and they're feel free to reach out to me, but if anybody wants to know a little bit more about how to manage kids and have better attitudes and all that stuff in the home, check out Tina's Lunch and Learn with me. We talk about that. Some life.
Yeah, that came out. Yeah, that came out yesterday, and that was really good, Cameron, because again, I have to be reminded. I can have a certain view of what's going on, but it's really just my space, right? So one of the things about having that family calendar, having that family meeting, and all of that is something I'm going to experience as of next week. But the thing, so let's just say you're finding some time to work on your business, right? With all the distractions and things like that. I mean, I have another lunch and learn, which is about how to set up a space, try to get some space to think, where you're not maybe right in the, in the traffic of the family unit. But anyway, so if you can think and you start thinking about your business, number one is, you got to reach out to other people. I find people that are isolating themselves right now. I don't think they're doing their business a good service. Now, somebody was telling me recently about, when a hockey coach, right, is coaching the team, they say to their team, don't stop skating, right? Keep skating. This way, when you have to really move, you're already in motion. So it just really hit me. And I was like, of course, I've skated, but I've never played hockey, but I could just imagine the momentum, right? So I think if you just take that analogy and you say, look, I need to stay in some type of forward momentum or sideways momentum so that out of the gate, I can move forward. I can't say on an individual basis or, industry specific what you need to do. I mean, of course, I would love to talk to people, and I do love doing this. So they could certainly, hopefully, you'll put up my information, and people will be able to get in touch with me. But more importantly, it really is specific. I think you have to almost put a plan on paper. Sometimes I love using mind maps, and I start with myself in the middle, and okay, what's coming out from that? What ideas do you have? What are dreams that you have? Who do you need to get in touch with? And I really believe that it's a great time just to, sit back and take a minute and say, okay, well, who do I need to get in touch with? Because I believe it's all about connection. If you connect to the right person or someone that's just going to give you that idea, if you can't think of it yourself and you're isolating yourself, get out, call somebody that's in your industry, call Cameron, call me, and just say, look, I need an idea, just a spark. And sometimes it's just that spark that's going to get somebody like, okay, great. And it's going to be time to move forward. I can't, if someone's mindset is scarcity, it's very hard to switch between to abundance, but it's something I talk about. I actually am finishing up an ebook that's called the Entrepreneur's Survival Guide. And what I talk about is mindset. And if you're in abundance, you're okay right now. You're saying to yourself, this is going to be okay. I'm going to reach out to people. I'm going to think, do thoughts. I'm going to pivot. The people in scarcity, it's very hard. You may be sitting here going, Tina, I can't get food. So there's so many layers to this. I don't want to speak to the people that, are, I want to speak. I don't want to speak for them. The people that are, are really in.
Let me talk to that a little bit, just in the sense that, I to your point, right? So, and this is something that I talk to my children a lot about. There's stress, there's anxiety with things going on. They canceled the rest of the school year. I have a 13-year-old, 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 3-year-old. The 3-year-old is probably happier than he's ever been because he's got a lot of people to play with. But the older kids, especially my 9-year-old, who's not as self-sufficient as my 13 and 11-year-old, who are both in junior high, and before this all started, we're on the high honor roll, and I've stayed on the high honor roll, thank goodness. But they're dealing with this okay. And then when I'm saying that, that's a lot of good things. We have computers here. There's a lot of people that don't have it. We don't have it as good as some folks have it, and we have a lot better than other folks have it.
Yeah.
But no matter who I'm speaking to, I don't care what your situation is. And I'm interviewing alumni from A. Philip Randolph, the nonprofit that I've been working with. So you're talking about different folks that have come from a lot of different challenging backgrounds. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother was out in the West Coast. My father took care of me in New York City. So I'm a little bit familiar with it, but there's obviously situations that I've run into in my course of being at the high school and dealing with students that I know nothing about, kids that, had to deal with electricity not being on and their mother being on different type of medications for stuff that was going on mentally and all that kind of stuff. So there's situations that, yes, they're extreme. but whatever your situation is, and I think this is always important to matter, wherever you are, whatever your situation right now is, you can reach out and there are resources and there are people that are willing to help you. We have lovely community members that have been really, really generous with us. I feel like there's people that probably need it more than we do that haven't reached out, and we didn't even ask. People just gave it to us, which is sort of a testament for two things. And this is something, I was just talking to my daughter the other day. Relationships with teachers, right? And I'm just playing this, relationship with community, relationship with whoever. You're in a chapter with Master Network. What is your relationship to the chapter president? What is your relationship to the other members? Are you nurturing those relationships? Are you valuing those relationships? Even if that person doesn't rub you exactly the right way, are you creating a great relationship there? Are you fostering good relationship? Because it goes back to a student with the teacher. If that teacher doesn't feel like they like you when you need something, they're not going to be inclined to reach out.
Right.
When you're in the community, and if you're not taking care of your neighbors or doing things to make your neighbors happy, people are going to be less inclined to reach out. So it's like, I loved what you were talking about with the skating analogy before. It reminded me of the Wayne Gretzky skate to where the puck is going to be kind of thing. That's what we got to train all of ourselves. Like, whatever our situation is right now, it's going to be better. Why is it going to be better? Because I'm going to say I can, right? Instead of I can't. Because if I say I can't, I'm right. And if I say I can, I'm right.
Right.
So
But
that line of thinking, that those relationships are really what will help you. And, no matter what your situation is, the positivity that you put out right now, even in your desperate state, will come back to you.
One of the things, I don't know why, but I somehow I reboot myself every day. I don't know why I do it, but I wake up and suddenly I'm like, okay, it's time to get going. And that was really important to me. I want to assure everybody I'm not coming from a place of elitism. I had a terrible, about 12 years ago, I had a health scare, and I was, it was very dire. And what happened is I had two choices at that point, and I could just go back to bed, or I could actually start moving. So one of the things that I did was I thought about my daughters at the time, who were 8 and 10. And I said to myself, you know what? I want to create a legacy for them. So part of this is I want to assure everybody that your kids are watching you right now. How are you handling this? And it's kind of like they were watching me back then, at that time when I was very sick. How is mom handling it? And as young people, 8 to 10 years old, I believe that I'm creating a legacy for them to be, both girls, to become very strong and, very self assured women. And that was really important to me because I wasn't sure that I was going to make it to this point. So I've spent really the last, 10, 12 years just creating a legacy so that my daughters could say, yeah, mom can get up and do it. So I just want to tell everybody that your kids are watching how you're handling this. And I really think that right now, if anything, make that be your why. Make your, let's say you don't even have children, but you know what? You have, other people in your community that are looking to you. How are you handling that? And how you come out at the other end, on the other side of this, is going to be something you really want to say, you know what? I'm proud of myself. And I think that should be everyone's why.
I agree. Big part of, I think, Chaz's thing, Chaz Wilson with Master Networks, and what I hear over and over again is, and this is why I started my company, because I was working in a nonprofit, and there wasn't enough money to really make it worthwhile and bring in the income for me. So when I started Toth Event Staffing, it was a big part of it was like, hey, I want to bring in income for my family, but I also want to give back and I want to do good. And if I make enough money, then I can. And I have. I've been able to, provide the staff, $3,000, $5,000 cost per year to staff the gala. Been able to be a board member, to provide the $2,000 to be a board member, and I feel like I always give get back from that. And
Right.
I know that, for folks, I didn't go to the high school that I serve. It's not exactly my community. I don't necessarily look, like the folks that I'm serving for the most part in that community, and people can be white, but I'm passionate about education. That's my thing. I was lost as a high school student. I want to give back, and I'm passionate about it. And,
Yeah.
if you thrive and you do well, not only can you take care of your family, but you can serve your passion. I love that message.
Right. And it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. So, surviving, and I say the survivalist guide because you have to start with surviving and then, hopefully you move into the thriving aspect of it. But I just wanted, when I started Master Networks, it was an idea coming out of two gentlemen in Rochester, Minnesota, that they wanted to create a learning based and community minded organization, a networking organization that was, again, learning based. So I thought that's great. And I said, I'm going to start the New York region. I didn't know what that meant. I was just walking around here by myself, in Westchester walking up to people saying, would you like to be in a networking group? And people are like, who's in it? And I'm like, me. And they're just like, that is not a group. And I'm like, I know, but it's going to be. And that perseverance that I wanted, again, the why came from my daughters and my family, my legacy, to show them that I could create something. And I thought, I've got to create this. And I just didn't let anything stop me.
So I see a tremendous amount of success with Master Networks all over Westchester, now going across the border in Connecticut. I don't think that's your territory, but I mean, it's expanding all over the area.
Really.
Do you feel like, I know that you're pushing hard. I know the activity there, so I know you're pushing, but do you feel like you've created something and there's success there? I certainly see it, and I feel like there is.
I have to tell you, it's not even in just the business sense. One of the things that I always wanted to do, because I was extremely shy, believe it or not, I mean, painfully shy through to college. And I thought and so now I'm kind of like, how could Tina Campbell, this person that's so shy, like actually affect change? And so I feel like when I hear the stories of, because we're a networking group that's relational, we're very relational. We're like family, right? So when a person has a success, we know about it. Or, one of our members, who's now a regional partner, JRTs of New York City, he was actually one of our other members' best man at his wedding. And they only met through Master Networks. Some people are, have godchildren through, relationships developed at Master Networks. So I really feel so strongly that this goes beyond. We always talk about Master Networks being a legacy beyond the business. I was lucky enough to help create that sentence down when we did a workshop from Simon Sinek's book, Discover Your Why. We did that in order to come up with Master Networks. What is our why and our mission statement. So one of the things for me is when I hear these stories of, wow, I just met a best friend and we're going to do business together, I'm like, yay. Because to me, I did that, so that just shows you that if anybody can do anything, it's, coming from an idea with, no money, just walking around and talking to people, but being very clear on my mission and vision, learning-based, community-minded, walking around, saying that to myself and using that as my litmus test. So anything I thought of was, should I do this? Should I do that? Well, does it go along with that mission and vision? That was so clear to me. And I think that's why we now have, we're between, just the New York region, including like New York City and everything, we're getting up to close to 400 people. It's like, that's in like 4 years.
That's crazy.
And it just keeps adding. And we've been adding during this time, we've been adding members because I think they're attracted to the positiveness, right? What you manifest. If you manifest that the I can, or we can do it attitude, is just bringing more people in. But I just want to say, it's not about me. I could start something, but it's about just having the culture that people felt that they wanted to join. And now they're taking over. It's completely the members' organization. I look at it that way.
To your point, there other organizations, and I've been keeping my feelers out. You know, I'm not a put all your eggs in one basket guy. I have too much on the line. I got my family. I have my legacy. You know, I'm not putting anything all in one place. So I'm always reaching out. And I can say this very honestly. Master Networks right now knows what they are doing, and they're building something and creating such value, at least that I've been able to take advantage of, that wherever else I go. You know, MPI Westfield chapter, I think they're doing a great job. Why? Because I've been involved with Master Networks and been able to bring over what we've been doing and tweak the model for MPI Westfield chapter. But I'm invited to some other chapter meetings, and I'm like, this is not how you do it. Master Net, you know, you should go check out what they're doing over here. They got it. You know, they know what they're doing. So I really encourage people. How does somebody? I got invited, obviously, by Pasquale Palumbo, who's a great guy, a great connector of people. How is somebody, if they're just watching a video right now, how do they get involved with Master Net? I don't even know how to go about it. How would they get into a local chapter?
Absolutely. You know, right now is a great time to come. They can visit. They can visit really any of our chapters. I mean, you can contact me. I'd love to have a discussion because, you know, again, it might not be right for everyone, but you know what? You never know. Even coming and visiting one time, you may make a great business opportunity for yourself. So they can just come, they can contact me. We also have a website, masternetworksny.com. They can see our information. I'm putting up there a calendar, a weekly calendar of our meetings. As I said, just in our region alone, we have 17 chapters. There's some in New York City and Connecticut that are not included on that. So if they want, and they're around the country. So really anybody can contact me for, send me an email, tell me what you do, tell me what you're passionate about. And I'd love to have that discussion with you. I obviously love to talk to people.
I threw up the LinkedIn for you, so people can click on that and just connect with you on LinkedIn, so they can go right there. I'm a little nervous about throwing emails up on YouTube videos and that sort of thing.
Sure, no problem. I mean, the LinkedIn's great. You know, they can tell me that tell me how you connected with me. Let me know it's through your show here, and it's just a great. Again, that's one tip I would give you is let people know how you started to connect with each other. You know, whether it's from this show, whether you saw somebody. Always put that in your LinkedIn. When you hit the connect button, always put a little note as to how you either saw the person or connected with them, because it's so much easier, so much nicer.
Talking about thriving, that's a tip, right? That's a strategic tip, and I think people need to use that, right? If I'm reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, try to use the website because it pops up that little box where you can type in. There's ways to do it on your phone, but I've noticed that it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I saw that.
But if you go on the web, so if you're using it from a laptop, or you can figure it out on your phone too. It's just a little bit more complicated. But if you're doing it on a laptop or a desktop, go in there and just say, hey, how did you meet the person? How did you find the person? And that's a big deal because it lets people know if you watch this show, it helps my case. It just is a beautiful thing, and people get excited about that. So tell people how you connected. And then in terms of just connecting, period, I really appreciate you bringing me into the Master Networks fold and bigging me up. I wouldn't have probably jumped on live that night with Chaz if I hadn't been encouraged to really be in the organization and really have the personal kindness that you've given me, and I think
thank you.
known for. So I'd like you to talk to. I'd love to get some comments from anybody watching, questions, and just to. That story with Chaz, I jumped in and I was live, and I actually, somebody right now could literally send me a thing. Hey, I want to go on live with you, and depending on who it is, I would say yes. Let's go on. That's what I did the other night with Chaz, and I was like, whoa, and I wasn't prepared for it, but it was a great opportunity, and it got me excited. But so hopefully somebody has a question, but I want you to talk about how you stay kind, right? Because I think that's such an amazing part of what you do. And then I know that Thrivers is new, but how can somebody reach out to you and take advantage of. I'm certainly very interested because I'm getting a whole bunch of ideas, and I think one of the challenges for me is I don't know where to start first. I
I know.
have a ton of ideas, and I don't know what the thing to do first is, right? So talk to us about kindness, and then I think that's a great way to step into how folks can utilize your kindness in working with you.
Oh, thank you. I will certainly. That's really, thank you for saying that, because how could you, like, you could just drop the mic now. I can go away and I can be happy by that. Thank you so much. The thing with kindness, it's like, I am probably one of the least judgmental people that I know. That serves me, because by not having a preconceived notion of what I think a person is going to be like, is very helpful. And I love it, because then I'm always excited and excited to meet people. And feel like I joke around and I say that, my kids love the movie Shrek. And Shrek would say, I'm an onion, right? And peel the onions back from, and you just get these layers of, and if you're kind about it, you find so much about a person, and they can be really a tough nut, right? But then the next thing you know, they're telling you something. And I'm also a very confidential person, so that also helps. So whatever people are talking to me about is it stays with me. So I think by having empathy, it comes with, patience, and it just comes from also, respect. And so I respect people in all walks of life. We grew up, I'm a first generation American, and my parents worked constantly to give us, all three children, an education. We were the first kids in our families to go to college. And, and then we were given a used car, and then they said, go work. And basically, so the work ethic was unbelievable. But we always wanted to make my parents proud, and that was always, that's also part of the way I grew up. So when I look at people, from, it doesn't matter to me, any walk of life, people are people. And so it doesn't phase me, if anybody is making, $20,000 or making 200,000. I don't care. It's really, to me, it's like, who are they as a human being? And so I try to get that inside the person and find out, what's driving them, and I think driving them will help thrive with them.
Yeah, I don't want this to sound like an infomercial for Master Networks, but
No, I don't at all. Yeah.
the face-to-faces that I've had with folks inside Master Networks, part of the community that you've created in New York here, and I could say this, I met with folks from other parts of the country now with all the Zooming going on, but the face-to-faces, the way that people are set up to do it, the openness and the listening that's going on. I had a face-to-face with Rick Gabrielli and his wife Carol, and
Yeah.
yeah, I can't think of like industries further apart, things that we, there's not a lot of synergy between what we do. We had an amazing conversation. Talk about peeling back the onions. No intention to get into talking about his book or the 33 years that they've been married or the 16 years that I've been married. It was a great conversation.
Yes.
And to the first business development with Cameron Toth before I even put the name on. I just started like, all right, I'm going to do something on business or something at 11 a.m. And so we did that last Friday, and it was amazing. And, I'm looking forward to this. I'm really excited because, there might not be a lot of viewers now, but the trick, I think, to anything in business is consistency. So we're going to be consistent with it. And I'm looking forward to having you on in, maybe a year's time when there's a following, and so many people can take advantage of your knowledge, because it's really a blessing, all of the information that you're willing to share and the kindness that you have. Can you talk to us? Just some of I know you probably got a ton of stories, but maybe just pick out a couple, two in the last few minutes that we have here before I have to jump off and prepare for my 12. What are some of the success stories or amazing stories that you can kind of share with us in terms of people that you've connected? Because I know you're an amazing matchmaker.
For instance, so I hear about these people connecting with each other, and it blows me away. Again, it can be even in a friendship way. But one of the things I heard about was with you, Cameron, because Rick actually brought it up at a meeting about, you weren't even there, and he was talking about what an amazing opportunity. I believe that you were talking to him on a biotech, some biotech uh, company or something like that. And I have to tell you, he has told everyone that he didn't even think that that's who he needed to connect with, but just through your conversation. And you know what? That's amazing to me that these conversations, because we're practicing it. And again, you could do this. You don't have to do this in master networks. You should just be doing this in your business, is reaching out, having conversations. It could be with your vendors. You don't know where the outside of the box thinking is going to be. If you open up a conversation with someone you're doing business with, hey, how are you doing during this? Right. And finding out and say, hey, well, how's it going with you and what's happening? You never know where that spark, again, brings spark into it, spark of an idea. So you happen to give Rick an idea, and he was just like, I cannot believe that this is kind of opening this entire, other world to me. And so think about that. You just happen to have this, you decided to be intentional about having this conversation. So that's all it comes down to. It doesn't have to be in an organized fashion, like Master Networks. You could do this, and you are doing this, I'm sure, outside of the organization. Because again, I don't want this to be an infomercial either, because again, everything we're saying is only because that's the reference point. But outside of that, all of this is just a really simple business wisdom, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the openness. I mean, I think I wasn't as open before. So, just being open to doing some of these calls that I wasn't open to doing before, maybe I wouldn't have gotten on the phone with Rick and Carol. Right. And
Right.
I think they probably, I mean, mentioned the biotech. So we do business with Regeneron. So we do events with Regeneron. So we know Regeneron folks. I used to work in medical meeting planning. So as a program manager. So
Yeah.
you don't know what somebody's background is until you have that conversation. I'm not putting it out there on my, Facebook and whatnot. But if you have that conversation, some folks, I was talking to Zachary Dingy this morning, and he's the Connecticut regional partner, right? And he doesn't know that I have, I'm in Westchester. He doesn't know that I know folks in Connecticut. I happen to be a member of a couple of associations that reach across the state line and go into Connecticut. So I know some Connecticut folks that I can definitely connect him with. So having that conversation and getting deep into the details, so cool. You got to have some other stories here, because I know you've connected so many people. We gotta come back to this for the next one, and maybe even just have some folks speak on your behalf, because you're so humble. But I know from just listening to folks that have been working with you that you've put so many people just in touch with each other. And I'm actually feeling guilty right now, because I think you connected to me to Dan, and I've been remiss to get an email back because I've been so busy. But I'm so excited.
Just wait. I mean, so what this is something that just, I think it comes to me very naturally, and that's being a connector. I actually did a skills finder 2.0 test, and it came back like 98%, connector. It's something I do, and I like to do it right away. So if I'm thinking, we're talking about the Dan who I wanted you to meet, and I just happen to be speaking to someone, and I'm thinking to myself, this person reminds me of, or this person needs to know this person. It's one of these things that comes very naturally to me, but you could all be doing it too. Think about the other person when you're talking to them and say, wow, this idea that they have, what they need to know that person. And what I do a lot of times, right at that moment, I open up, if I'm doing it on my laptop, I'll open up the computer right then, and an email, and I'll just start typing something. I won't finish the email, but I'll just be thinking to myself, okay, let me just quickly start writing this out. I want to connect, Cameron to someone. If you do it right then, because you're not going to remember it later.
Right. No,
so that's the thing. So I have to do.
Yeah.
Right. I have to do it right then. And it's really been because it bothers me if I don't do it, and I'll say to myself later on, oh, I can't believe I forgot. So I really think that acting on it is really important, but listening. So I'm listening to what this person is saying, and I look for keywords. It's very important to me to look for keywords. So if I hear something that you say, a keyword that you say about, let's say, your company or your what you did in the past, and it's interesting to me, I just kind of file it. And then the next time I hear that keywords, I put the two people together.
That's great.
And pretty much that's the key.
I love that. And I think everybody, big, takeaway from this, if you take anything away, take action, right? Just
Yeah.
take action in the moment, take action. One of the things that, again, I'm still learning, but one of the things when I go into a master networks meeting, so I joined the 9 a.m. New York City meeting this morning, and something simple, but I'm just telling people, throw your LinkedIn in the chat so that way I can just click on that link and connect with you right now. Why are you going to make me go back, save this chat, and find your information, figure out an email, all that kind of stuff?
Great idea.
That's complicated, and especially if you're packing your day and you're blocking your schedule. I gotta jump off this, but one thing that I want to just go back to, if in just to provide content. Blocking time on your calendar. So you talked a little bit about that, but we didn't really get into the nuts and bolts of that. What do you do to block your time? And then and after you explain that, you can give your closing statement and we'll sign off.
Okay. Well, just as far as blocking is, I do it on Sundays. Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. I think about the week ahead of a week ahead, and then I put it on. When I put it on my Gmail, that also puts it on my phone, and then again I print it out so that I know what I'm doing for the week. Of course, things change, but pretty much it's I stick to it, and I think that's the number one. Stick to your calendar, so that I just hate. I've double booked in the past, and it's torture. It's horrible.
I'm suffering through it. I got to get on Calendly. What is it? Calendly. So I know a lot of people are using that. So I got to do that. And I just got to get my written schedule out in front of me so it's updated all the time.
Well, for my lunch and learns, I decided to use You Can Book Me. And that's also a free service. And it's just one of those things where I just wanted something very simple for people to sign up for lunch and learns. And so that worked out great. So that again is added to my calendar automatically. I know who's coming on the topic, and that works really well.
All right. So I'm going to give my closing statement here, and then I'm going to let you close out. I want to say thank you so much for all of your kindness, for all of your support, for everything that you're doing for all of us that, really we're not thriving yet. I want to say that I'm active online, and I know that I will thrive, and I know that I will thrive because of your support and our chapter and the folks that are around me. But really, you're a huge part of that, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful that you gave your time to be on here with me today. I'm looking forward to doing this again with you in the future when we got some folks that really can take advantage of your kindness and your wisdom in networking and business, because people need it, and I'm hoping they'll take advantage of it. And then I just want to say one thing: take action. Get in touch with Tina. The LinkedIn link is there. Take action. If there's one takeaway today, get in touch with this lovely woman who is so business minded and so smart. You need her in your life. Take advantage of it. I'll let you close it out, Tina.
I don't know what else to say except thank you so much. We have such a wonderful group of a community of people that's really extended, and become a family. So all I say to people is jump in, jump in now. It doesn't mean you have to be, be part of Master Narcs, but listen, it's a great group. So come in and visit. Then just see what it's about. Also, again, I love to work with, entrepreneurs and people that are having a nugget of an idea. I love working with kids. I work to talk to them about networking. What does that mean? And again, it's not a commercial for any organization. Just I love talking about that. So that's one of the things I do at chambers and other meetings. So I would love to speak at, especially at this time when we have the opportunity to do it over Zoom. I'd love to speak in organizations to talk about entrepreneurship and on networking. That would be fabulous. So just contact me through LinkedIn.
That's amazing. All right. That's all for this show. Thank you so much. I'll be live again tomorrow at 11. I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much, Tina. And I'm sure I'll see you sometime later today.
I'm sure I will. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.